Opposition party reacting there. Now to discuss the claims made by Vijay Mallya and the impact, joining me today is NCP leader Majid Memon, also lawyer and senior journalist and the founder of The Print, Shekhar Gupta. Gentlemen, appreciate you joining me here on the show. Mr. Memon, if I could start by asking you, we have Vijay Mallya saying that it was not a formal meeting, it was an informal meeting. He did say that he reiterated his offer to settle, which has been confirmed by the finance minister as well, that Mallya did make an offer to settle with bankers, but the finance minister telling him to take your offer to the bankers themselves. Now, given this is not going to impact the extradition hearings that are currently underway and the verdict is expected on the 10th of December, so this is really a side show for the domestic audience, for the domestic constituency. But do you believe that this is going to be an embarrassment for the government?
No, Shirin, I would need a couple of minutes to explain to you the position because, incidentally, sure, I happened to be in the house when Vijay Mallya last appeared in the house. You see, and then suddenly when he disappeared, hello? Hello?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, suddenly when he disappeared, next day when the news broke that he has left India, and later the detailed news suggested that not only he has left India and he did not go secretly, he has gone with some kind of a red carpet walk and with huge bags going with him. And now that when he says that before I left, I had met finance minister, first he said more than once, but then after Mr. Jaitley has said he has changed his version a bit, perhaps under some fear. But one question arises, that when there was so much noise throughout the country, when this man suddenly disappeared with huge bags, and immigration did not stop him, customs, ED, IT, nobody bothered to stop him, and he claims that he has had an occasion to talk to the finance minister, whichever way, in the Parliament House or in his office, whatever, that is not relevant. Now, Mr. Jaitley is saying that, well, on one occasion, he wanted to hand over certain papers to me, which I did not accept. He told me that he wants to settle. I told him that you should go to the bankers and talk to them. You see, maybe formally or informally, maybe that Mr. Jaitley did not give him appointment, but the major question is that all these facts, when there was so much noise in the house and in the country, why did finance minister not place before the house honestly, being the leader of the house, and also to the country that this, as I said, happened before he exited? Why did he conceal that? There lies the truth. And therefore, the relief or suspicion that he must have gone with the implied consent of the finance minister gathers strength. And therefore, we would be justified in questioning the finance minister on that.
Justified in questioning the finance minister and gives credence to the theory that Vijay Mallya was in fact tipped off. Shekhar Gupta, I know you've tweeted and said that, look, this is not such a scandal to speak with somebody in the Central Hall of Parliament. But the fact of the matter is that there was a lookout notice against Vijay Mallya. That lookout notice was modified against Vijay Mallya. This also gives credence to the opposition's argument, and we heard that statement coming in from the Congress party yesterday, that Bhagodon ka saath, Bhagodon ka vikas, that is the new narrative for this government. Vijay Mallya in London, Nirav Modi flees the country a couple of days after being photographed with the Prime Minister in Davos, Mehul Choksi sitting in Antigua. It doesn't look particularly good, does it, this narrative?
It looks terrible, because the question is not who he met in Parliament. An MP in Parliament can walk up and meet anybody. In fact, there is one odd MP even now in Parliament, a recent ex-MP who has a lookout notice against him, and in fact ED has spoken to at the court, written to the court saying that they fear that he may leave, but MPs have their privileges, so leave that aside. The fact is that without complicity of someone high up, without the help from somebody high up, Vijay Mallya could not have left in so casual a manner, because he did not just leave stealthily from one of the smaller airports, maybe Chennai or Calcutta or someplace. He left from Delhi. Everybody knows who he is. He's a celebrity. And he left apparently with some 20-odd large suitcases.
Suitcases, yes.
So an airport is a high security zone. Somebody obviously would have noticed that he's going for a long time. Now there is a lookout notice. He is a defaulter. he may be whatever, but he's a former airline owner. But the fact is that there is no way he would have dared to escape like this unless he was sure that he will go unmolested at the airport. So certainly, whether he paid off somebody or there was an IOU, that will be found out. But his departure from India, obviously for a very long time, is a very, very shady thing to have happened. It's impossible to explain this away as a normal event.
Yes, it's going to be hard to explain this away, and this has been something that the government has had to battle with previously as well, but it becomes even more embarrassing in light of the comments that have come in from Vijay Mallya outside the Westminster Court in London this afternoon. Mr. Memon, you know, this is fodder now for the opposition, is it not? I mean, we're talking about the finance minister, and while the finance minister may not necessarily have anything to do beyond that informal meeting in Parliament, which he has in his statement said that he was virtually ambushed by Vijay Mallya. But this is going to lead to some tough questions for the government.
See, as Shekharji was rightly saying, that he couldn't have left in the manner he left. And then when the news broke that he did not just leave empty-handed, he was carrying huge bags, abnormally large numbers of bags, huge bags containing what one does not know. Whether the customs or the ED or the immigrations or anybody even questioned him and checked his the belongings which he was carrying with him, one does not know what he carried. And then this was a very big news, and there was a lot of noise in the house when this news broke. And all of us from opposition wanted government to make statement on that. That was the point when Arun Jaitley should have stated all that he is stating today after this man has revealed this truth. This means the non-mention of these facts that, you know, he left, he was trying to meet me, he was trying to give me papers, I told him not to. Why did he keep mum? Because this was not something above board. And therefore, the assumption that he had some arrangement with the finance minister which made him go like a king with all kinds of facilities provided by the ED and all that, and then he left. You see, gathered strength, as I said earlier. And look here, after that, Nirav Modi, after that, Nirav Modi, after that Chokshi, you know, and everybody is just having exit. And with, on their heads, serious allegations of misappropriations of thousands of crores of rupees. Is the government not hand in glove with these people? The onus is upon government to explain that we are innocent and we have no information about this. How could one after the other people could escape with poor people's money from this country? Look at the situation, economic conditions in India. People have no jobs, people have no work. People are suffering because of high prices.
Right.
Money is diminishing. And then people like these Johnnies, they can not only defraud people, but can comfortably just walk away from the country. And then again putting our country and our own money to bear the cost of crores of rupees for seeking their extradition. Is this not too much?
Well, you know, but whether or not there was any complicity or whether this was, as the finance minister is saying, him being ambushed in the Central Hall of Parliament, you know, that is a matter for investigation. But Shekhar Gupta, let me ask you a larger question. I mean, this matter has been in court now for several months. Vijay Mallya speaks with the press quite freely. He's very accessible every time that there is a hearing. He speaks for you know, minutes, if not hours outside court whenever he's asked questions by reporters. I'm wondering why he chose to make this known today.
Well, obviously because he's made a tactical move. His case is coming up to a level where he might face extradition, although in Britain it will take a few more steps. But he's covering for himself. He knows there is an election coming up. So when you are in trouble, just create a commotion in Indian politics. And divert attention. So he's doing that. You know, his actions show in so many ways that he is his own worst enemy. If he really had intended to settle with the banks, there was no reason for him to run away.
Yeah.
He had enough collateral. In fact, people in private banks have been able to recover all their money because they sold his collateral, which was his shares in his liquor company. But he obviously did not intend to pay, and that's the reason he left. Because he left, he's criminalized his case, and he's got himself into a big mess, and also his friends. Because if a real investigation is made into how he got his loans evergreened, I think some of these will definitely be traced to a few phone calls made by the Ministry of Finance in Delhi at the topmost level to the lead bank of the consortium that gave him fresh money. So he had lived off cronyism for a very long time. The most sensible thing he could have done was to offer to settle with his banks, but I think it was a bully who got caught out by his own stupidity.
Well, you know, the offer for settlement is pending with the Karnataka High Court, and that matter is coming up later this month. The extradition matter, the hearing underway, the verdict now on the 10th of December. But as I pointed out, this has now converted itself into a whole other story and given fodder to the opposition to go after the government. For this evening, Majid Memon and Shekhar Gupta, appreciate you joining us on the developing story of the night. In macro news,